You hear me? Yeah. I start to discover in this QA work that is a very, very useful profession in the devs teams. I like it. I specialize in some specific tasks that I like it to help to the teams to improve quality assurance the products. And I know about a lot of products and I work with a lot of teams that I like. And also I start linking with the people that I work. I enjoy it a lot.
Very good, very good. So tell us a little bit here to the audience, like what does a Q&A do? Like what's the main function of this position?
Well, a QA essentially is an important part of product quality assurance. We use a testing process that focus on seeking into control that the requirements comes from the clients and POs, product owners, are met according to the objectives and the goals that the company wants and that the end user is going to use in a system. So we focus on to accomplish that requirements, that functionalities that they want works as they want.
Okay, very good. So more or less that's the main function of a Q&A, which is great. That's the case. So tell me a little bit about the visible benefits about these positions. Like if I have a Q&A in my team, what benefits do I get in my project?
A QA can work in an agile development project. That is an important thing that I want to mention. The QA helps to the team to deliver a complete product. Benefits like, for example, we avoid a lot of headaches to the team, to the customers, to the users, because we are an external part of the development process, but we are integrated in that team. We verify the product. We try to identify error as early possible. We try to consider to find this defect because we want to cheaper the consequence of this error that we found. We avoid also a lot of work or rework by the devs because we try to find these bugs. And we try to save money.
Of course, that's the main purpose.
Good benefits, a consequence that we try to avoid or when we found the bugs. And that's reflects in customer satisfaction because when we deploy a quality product, with the efficiency, the productivity, the culture also in the team, the motivation in the team, the improvements, the satisfaction also in the team and in the client, that is part of the benefits.
Well, that's very, very impressive. What you mentioned pretty much about culture, efficiency, I mean, saving money and all of that, because all of us, like when we're working on a project, that's the main function, like you're doing things on time and you're testing all of these things. So tell us more or less about like your own experience.
Well, I remember, for example, one time that I started with company without quality assurance team into the company. They didn't have it, but when we start working with them, we start with a diagnosis and one of their main products that they have. We work because we want to stabilize that system because they have a lot of problems, serious problems with the maintenance of this system. When we start with the diagnosis and with test techniques that we applied, we found a lot of bugs that causes that they apply a lot of effort and a lot of work. To put an example, we applied the Pareto rule. For example, we found that 20% of the causes that 80% of their problems contains and double work efforts. And we help to them. They see the benefits of the quality assurance practices. We put a lot of organization in process with the quality assurance practices, and they appreciate a lot.
Wow, so that's a big comparison. So 20% of the cost is like it's 80% of the problem. So 80%,
yeah, definitely it applies.
Wow, I mean that's something that can definitely be fixed, correct?
Yes, they appreciate a lot because they see that the benefits of this principal organization that we implement in the team, in the quality process, and also they allow to us to establish these improvements in quality test techniques and quality tasks also that we implement into the keywords and into the part of the product process development.
Okay, got it, very good. And if we put if we ask the question on the other way, we mentioned now like all the benefits of
Yeah.
having it, which would be the risks of not having a Q&A incorporated?
The risk to not have a QA, for example, is mainly at the beginning, having a single point of view of the quality of the product implies a big risk because, for example, well, I remember a phrase that the tester used. My baby is not ugly. We always mention to the devs. I will tell you that your baby is ugly because I am an external and I can opinion of that. We are talking about not a baby. Also, we are talking about the software product. We have the opportunity to give them feedback, and that opportunity allowed to the team to improve and to be also more secure about the product that we are deploying. And that is one of the big risks that we avoided.
So we say confidence. So like having a Q&A process will be generating confidence within the client, but also within the team.
And also when we found, for example, defects and the devs improved that fixes and when that reflects in, for example, if the QA doesn't exist into the team, the clients or the end user, sometimes they found that defects and that can be a displeasure or this insatisfaction on their parts, and it became something to be a report. If this happens commonly or recurring and repetitive, that could be as a result can be an unsatisfaction of the clients, and also can causes a breach of service contract, and a breach of functional requirements that they want, and they see that we are not accomplishing, and then it's a big risk to not have a QA.
Noted. Wow. I mean, and those are big risks, particularly if we are talking about big projects. In the long term, can be big risks.
Yes, imagine that you can delay. You have delays to deliver the products. That is a reflex because you have many books from if you have only one point of view. But if you have a QA, you can see or you can identify these books, and also we can have to delivery on time to the products.
Got it. Very good. And let me ask you something. How does a Q&A specialist joins a team? Like, how would be this process to have someone on board?
It's a good question. I really like to ask me this question because you know why? Because sometimes team members or product owners or team leaders always ask to us what really we do, and also they ask to us, to the tester, in what phase of the project we enter and to carry out our activities, and I always mention that the QA is part of the team. We are present in all development practices. Since we define the requirements, we try to understand that requirements. We situate also between the client and the dev team, because we understand the developer's language, and that's we can reflect to the clients, and also we understand to the client, and we can introduce or share with the dev the client's necessity, and also that's we can be on between them, and also we can join to the software projects and to have to reduce this gap between dev team and the end user.
Okay, very good. So you mentioned that should be mostly present throughout all the activities, but like, what should, like, the first thing that a Q&A should do when joining? Like, what would be that first thing he or she must do?
Well, we can start. We have a test process. We design test plans, but we can start to understand first the system requirements, the client's requirements, the PO requirements, and we put ourselves in the client's shoes. With this, having clear these requirements, having clear the client's necessity, the end users, what the end user wants as a goal, as a company goals. With these ideas clearly, we imagine and determine, for example, the test objectives and strategies that to be carried out, because with this design, with this plan, we can imagine all the scenarios that the end user can have in front. We understand that language programmers, as I mentioned, and we question also to the devs if we were the clients and we try to imagine the clients reaches and say we're saving time, effort, and money when we found a book and when we are in front to the devs, and also we apply it as well. Changes in development practices, and this I like a lot, because, for example, I asked to the devs to demonstrate what they create, what they develop before to they deploy, and when they show us, we can give feedback, because we know the requirements and we can apply a kind of checklist, or we can apply our test design. We can do, we do also functionality validations, verifications with test techniques, with specialist test techniques. We use it manually, automatically. We apply smoke testings. We apply another kind of test, for example, non-functional test like usability, stress, or another kind of test. And we do a lot of this. This QA world is a very
Wow. Wow, very good, very good. So this is something like you can see the different examples of what you can do, and I really like what you mentioned, that you work like in harmony, like with the developers together, and to check all of the different tests all at once. You know, making all of these executions, and this makes parts of the development process to make sure is rich and also full of sharing. Like in that way, I mean, it's the only way to avoid mistakes in the future.
Yes. Also, when we implement that test techniques at the beginning with the team, the dev team or the team, when a QA is integrated to or joined to in a team, they at the beginning maybe can feel attacks, but what we don't do it on this way. We try to help to the product, quality product, and we do it applying or try to demonstrate that to the team, to the dev team, that we are help to help, and we apply, for example, as I mentioned, different kind of test techniques. And the more useful are the manual functional and the automate functional test. That's kind of are the most useful into the teams, and when we apply, when we give the feedback in a good way, when we help to the team to improve the product, they appreciate a lot, and also they accept at the end, they accept that our collaboration, and they at the end, the team, we are part of the team, and they accept it to us.
Of course, definitely. Good that you mentioned about the manual and the automatic functional test, because definitely those will be the ways to do it. Like which one do you consider would be like the best, or it really depends on the need, like a manual one or an automated one? Because we hear this particularly on the role. I need a manual tester. I need a automation tester. So what can you say
Yeah,
about these two functions?
it depends of the goal of the project because the looks like the same manual functional test. For example, we apply when the product are recently created, and automate when we use it for more maturity products.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of test has a particular approaches and efforts, but it's the most useful. And I apply both in the projects. The automatics help me a lot with the regression testing, that when we deploy a new functionality that we integrate into in an existing project,
Mm-hmm.
use automatic tests that we create, and we apply it for regression testing, and manually we use it for new products that we are creating. We use, as I mentioned, I will mention a lot the test techniques, but it exists a standard for test work. Exists a career for the test for the QAs, that I apply also, that we have an international standard that is as ISTQB, and the quality board, worldwide quality board. And that exists a lot of QAs that we are certified on this standard, and we use it, and we can specialize in all the different kind of tests, like a manual testing and automatically testing as well.
Wow, very good. I think that explanation was very complete. I got a very deep message on that. To conclude, Uziel, before I ask our audience to share some questions, like, is there anything else you would like to share about like your experience as a Q&A specialist?
Well, when I start with in QA world, I've been I feel emotional because
Yeah.
it's a different approach to improve the products, and I always try to share to the project leaders, to the POs, also to the dev team, that allow to the QAs specialists to get more involved into the projects, because this career also improves a lot in the last years, but exists a little barrier. We need to empower more to the QAs, because we can be an important part to the team, and we can help a lot to reduce the branch or the gap that exists between the dev team and the clients. The POs works on this way, but the QA has the focus on the quality assurance product, and we can help a lot. And then I always try to ask to the dev teams, team members, that allow to the QAs to help with the QA product, and that like a lot.
Wow, very good. Thank you so much for sharing. I mean, and that final message was very good, to like empower the Q&A team and to work together in harmony. I mean, that's a very strong and compelling message, particularly for those software leaders that are planning and developing and working there, like to make sure, like, you know, they have this mentality to move up. As really as a summary of all the benefits, here we're sharing our screen about like some of the benefits that we have, and we can like just share, like, it really saves time, it really avoids the headache, and in terms of money, it really prevents any kind of emergencies. The one here that we have is inspire clients' confidence, because like, you know that the process is done correctly, so the client is confident that you're actually doing the right thing. Of course, this helps also the selling process to sell it better with a good user experience. And of course, at the end, this is going to attract a be profitable product and create a culture of quality, and of course of a continuous improvement for the organization. So definitely we can resemble all of that. So I would like to now open all the audiences, the microphones. I know we have people here that are hearing us right now. If you have any questions, and we have Uziel here to answer all of those questions that you might have in mind at this point. So if there's anyone, any volunteer, anyone that would like to ask a question to Uziel at this point.
Sure. I'm happy to answer that. If the audience has questions, I'd like to
You're
answer.
glad to, super. So let's see. Anyone?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Hey, Laura.
Well, hey, well, I do have a question. So I've seen some companies that instead of getting a tester to only do the testing work, they tend to ask, the same development team to do the testing process. So what do you think about this? I mean, do you think it affects the quality of the final product or not? I would like to hear your thoughts about it.
To have a QA into the team or not having?
Not having a QA. I mean, the developers are the ones that are doing the testing job.
Yeah. We can imagine if we don't have a QA into the team, for example, in many projects exists that particular consequence or cost for when we don't have quality assurance into the projects. For example, exists the risk to more projects that can be canceled by the quality, by the lack of quality. Also, exists a lot of schedule delays for the product. That is another risk. A lot of cost overruns because we implement at the end, and we implement also, you can implement with bugs or with defects that the users ends unsatisfaction by the end user. Also resistance to use the product when we deliver the product, because we can deliver a product without enough quality assurance if we don't have a QA. Remember that a QA is a third party, but he's into the team, but we represent the clients, and we try to be a third party, a third point of view of the product, and we try to we want to do the quality product. Then that is the most effects that if you don't have a QA into the team.
Very good, very good. Thank you. Laura, any other question that you have, or anyone in the audience that has any other question for Uziel?
Yes, hello. How do you decide which tests to automate versus which ones to execute manually?
Well, when we have a repetitive functionality, or mainly functionality that is very important, we try to automate. We don't automate all the systems because also sometimes it takes more time to automate that, do it manually. For example, administrative or management functionalities that we establish only once time, when we know that is a setting or is a configuration from the system, we don't, many times we don't automate. But if we have a mainly functionality like register clients or register customers that is very repetitive, we try to automate because it takes more time to do it manually, and sometimes we can do it fastly if we automate it and we have enough data to do it. And that is part of the decisions to saving time at the future and for future releases, for futures increments in the products. that we needed, and we try to do we need to do a regression testing that with the new functionality not affect that mainly functionality. Then we decide for what is the main functionality that you use, that we use, or the client use, and it's important for the client. But we basic on the cost, the time, and the effort to do it.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much, UCL. Anybody else? Any other question that we have available? So I think I have one for you, UCL, one extra that I didn't ask in all the questions that I asked you earlier. So
Yeah.
you mentioned something about the cost. Like why should companies really consider, despite having this person here, because the cost definitely is going to increase, but there's something like mentioned in quality as the role. It's quality and assurance. So what can you infer like with the term cost and quality in this case?
That is a good question, because sometimes we can measure that cost. But you can measure that cost. Also, if you compare two different scenarios with or without the QA, sometimes the team leaders or the general managers companies that decide to hire a QA and integrate into the team, the first point of view is that it's gonna be elevate the human resource cost. Yeah, but they need to see as well the cost of the product, or the lack of this the cost of the product and the cost of the maintains that product. Then you can compare these two measures, and it can reflect in different metrics. For example, as I mentioned, the time to delay a software that you delayed or you not accomplish the due date that you compromise with the client, that can be represent a cost or opportunity cost that we can help to measure that or to establish that kind of metrics. What the number of books that we found into the team before we delay the product, how many defects presents after we deploy the products, and the time to fix them, and also the cost of the client that they have. So we can measure all of this with or without the QA. Also exists I like a book that I wrote that I read about the economics of software testing. You can find all these kind of metrics that you can establish into the teams, and you can start with the number of defects that the end user found when you have a QA or the practical quality assurance practices, and when you doesn't have.
Okay.
That is very, very interesting. You can measure, we can measure, and I invite to do it, because the effort into the team by the reward for them that product maintains, you can measure, and you can see how many money you save if they work to improve the product, to fix the product. You can compare with that.
Wow, very good. I mean, thank you for sharing that. I mean, that comparison for us. I mean, I really appreciate your time, Lucia, because I think we all here today have a better idea. Some of us were like had some knowledge about the position. Some of them have very good knowledge about this position, but these really clarifies many of the doubts, many of the myths about these position that you help us today to clarify. I would really like to thank you for your time, for being here, for joining us, for explaining you and walk you through your position and really the impact of your role within a project. So definitely we're going to keep in mind that one. For all of you guys, thank you all for joining. This will be the first of many webinars we're going to be hosting about different trend topics that are happening in our industry. We would love your comments and your feedback on this webinar, or if there are any topics that you feel interested on knowing. That's our contact information. We are MCoreSoft. We are a software development company. We work with different customized projects as well with staff augmentation services. And one of the positions that we actually help in to fill in for projects are Q&A. But we have also some other positions that we can help fill in, as well as to analyze if there are any software project that you're working on. Okay, you can visit our website, it's right over here, and you can also check our LinkedIn website for more updates that we have. Okay, you can reach it. That's my my email address that you can see here, and that's the company number as well for you to join. Call at any time. Okay, if there's any doubt. So thank you all for your time, and it was great having you. And stay tuned because we're going to have more webinars happening in the upcoming weeks. Thank you, Ciel. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you to everyone. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.